you like my little veg setup? I haven't really sat down here in a while and I wanted to make it a bit funky. I just love the avocado. I just love him. Hi guys and welcome to my channel. My name's Nicole and here on We Mama I do lots of motherhood, lifestyle, cleaning and organisational videos. So if you like that kind of content, I would love it if you could stick around and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is just going to be a little video on how I've changed after having 2 babies. I know that lots of things happen to different women after having babies, from having like different physical appearances, how your mental health changes, and lots of other little new quirky things that you didn't really kind of have before. So I thought I would just sit down and talk about what has happened to me personally. My mum kind of gave me the inspiration for this because my mum used to love like going on holidays, things like that, and then when I was born she just all of a sudden got a fear of flying and like things like roller coasters. So I was just thinking, like, what has changed with me? So the first thing that I would definitely say that changed me during my first pregnancy and having my first baby, I definitely became a very organised person. I am a Virgo, so I don't know if you kind of believe in these kind of things, but I am definitely one person who overthinks and like needs everything to kind of be like tidy and organised, structured. I am that kind of person, but before having a baby it wasn't that kind of important to me. Now I have to label everything. Everything has to have its own place. I'm very particular and I drive my husband up the wall, as you can imagine. For example, if you haven't seen my baby change bag videos, I will link them below, but that is one thing that I'm very particularly organised about. I have about 5 different pouches just to make things easier in the nappy bag and to find things when I need to. I have like a pouch, like the food pouch with snacks, cutlery, a bib. I have a pouch for like the nappy changing where I have like the wipes, nappies, nappy bags, nappy creams. And to me that just gives me so much joy that those kind of things are all in this set little bag. I definitely was not like that before I had babies, but I think being a mum definitely brings out that preparedness in you. I definitely make sure that when I come home after using the nappy bag, I empty it and make sure that everything is clean and I replace what needs to go in that bag, and then it's all ready to go for the next day. I have definitely become an overthinker and an over worrier. I have always kind of done this anyway, but I think it's just become a bit more extreme since having my 2 babies. I would kind of think out like different scenarios in my head. I've always been like that, always have done, just so that I'm able to prepare. But now obviously having children, I've just taken it to a different level. For example, if we go out for a drive in the car, you know, because it's lockdown, sometimes we just go for a little drive around the countryside to get out of the house, get the babies off for a nap. And in my head, I'm just like, what if we break down? It's winter, I need to make sure that the car is full. So I need to make sure that, you know, I've packed the car with like water, snacks, which is a given anyway, but make sure that I've got all the blankets, I've got a first aid kit, I've got all our contact numbers, I've got like a torch in there. At the point where my husband is like, we're literally going for like a 30-minute drive around the streets, we're gonna be fine. But my mum brain just can't relax and I can't do that, so that is definitely something that has changed me. And on the same lines of being an over-worrier, overthinker, I have definitely turned into a nervous passenger. I don't drive. I have had so many lessons and so many instructors. I've just never gotten around to taking my actual physical driving test. So I've always been the passenger. I've always been in the back of the car, front of the car. Never had a problem with it. I used to do very long, like 9-10 hour journeys up to Scotland as a child. Being in the car has never fazed me, and all of a sudden it's really hit me that I am quite nervous being in the car. With my first baby, I was pregnant and I was living in Chester in the city centre. We didn't have a car. Everything was in reach of us, like our work, our shops, so if we did go places it was on the train. So I didn't really have that much experience of being in the car when I was pregnant or with a brand new baby, so I didn't really think much of it. But since I'm being pregnant for the 2nd time and now we have our own car, I get very, very nervous. The thought of the car seats always make me quite nervous, and definitely being in the front of the car when my husband goes around bends, and because we're in the Cotswolds, when we go around country lanes, I just found myself like gripping onto like the armrests on like the thing above your head, the handle, the handle above your head. I just couldn't tone it down to the point where my husband, when we went round a bend and another car came, I was like taking deep breaths, like gasping, when my husband was getting really cross with me because he's like, you are distracting me and you're making me nervous. And I was like, I can't help it. I've got such precious cargo in the back. I just can't help it. I'm a little bit better now that she's been born. I don't know how that works, but I still am very cautious, to the point where I make sure that my husband is always driving the right speed, which he does anyway, but I always have to explain to him that it's not him and his driving that I'm worried about. There are other people on the road who just don't take notice of things like that. So when we do go around bends, sometimes someone is coming really fast across the road, and not everyone looks where they're going when they're crossing the road. And yeah, it has definitely made me more aware, and something that I'm quite worried about when I do take my test. I really need to pass my test, but I just haven't had the time yet. I really need to do it. But now, because of all of this, I'm very worried about taking my test, about learning to drive again, and yeah, I really need to focus on that and calm down a bit. Something else that has really changed me is baby brain. I think I mention this a lot on my videos, but I didn't really think that baby brain was a real thing. I thought like women just joked about it. When I was pregnant, people were like, oh yeah, I've never been the same since, and they did it in such like a weird manner that I just kind of brushed it off. And oh my god, I feel like I've definitely not been myself since having my firstborn. I forget the most random things, and I do the most random things. I remember with my firstborn, I was craving Twister ice creams, so I remember going into my freezer, I took out a Twister and I put them away, and then I think about half an hour later I was like, I need another one, need another Twister ice lolly. And when I went to my freezer, I found the wrapper and the box in the freezer, and I put all of these Twister ice lollies in the bin, and of course they'd melted, and I was furious with myself, and I was like, how did I do that? And I feel like I am still doing things like that today. I get distracted so easily. I think I've mentioned in previous videos about things like a cup in the living room. If I walk into the living room, I'm like, oh, I need to take that coffee cup to the sink. And on my way to that coffee cup, I get distracted by 10 other different things. And then when I'm exhausted, because I've just gone on to like a job from a job from a job from another job, and I sit down and I look down and the coffee cup that I originally went to pick up is still there. And things like that happen all the time. If I want to get out of the house, my focus, I just get distracted so easily, and I feel like it's just got worse since having baby number 2. Please tell me I'm not alone. And the last thing on my list is a physical change. I know obviously as women we go through so many different physical changes, from stretch marks to having a different belly, hair growth, from having a pregnancy belly, from having like spots. Obviously we have just given birth. Our bodies are all over the shop. For me, obviously I had all of those things. I had weight loss, I had weight gain, I have stretch marks in places I didn't even know you could get stretch marks. But one thing that I really did notice was hair growth. I noticed that when I was pregnant, my hair everywhere, just crazy. It's like I took like a hair growing pill, like underneath my arms. As wonderful as you all want to hear that, it just grew like there was no tomorrow. But also one thing was this bad boy. I think I've shown him in previous videos, is this bit of hair. I know I'm kind of lucky and people are probably going to be like, why are you even complaining? This has been growing since I found out that I was pregnant, and all throughout lockdown, the first lockdown, this piece of hair when I was pregnant just stuck up like that. So when I was at work, my boss would be making fun of me because I just had a little piece of hair just sticking up like that, like a little cow's lick, and I've never seen anything like it. Now I've obviously been growing it out and I can just kind of sweep it into my fringe, but it's taken almost a year for that to happen. And there are worse things going on in the world, but oh my god, it was so annoying. But I have seen since that, I have seen other women on Instagram where they've had about 5. So I know that one girl on YouTube I've been watching, and when she puts her hair like this up in a ponytail, she's got 5. So she's got one right in the middle of her hair, one there, one there, and one there, and one there. And I'm like, just be thankful that it's just the one. Nothing would tame it. I think that's what used to irritate me the most, is that hairspray, gel. I would even like get those tiny little like bobby pins and slide it in to make it just stick down. It was a nightmare, and I'm kind of glad that I was in lockdown when it was at its peak, when it was just sticking out like that. My husband just ridiculed me for the whole of lockdown because of it. Big up to those husbands who really support you when you need it. And of course, my last thing that has definitely changed me is how I've become a mother, how I've just taken to become the mother of these two little babies who, you know, rely on you. You are their world. My mum would always tell me, you know, how you will never understand that love, that bond that you have with these children. You don't until you have your own. And she was completely right. You just fall in love with these little beings. At first you're terrified, you don't know what you're doing, and then it all just slots into place and you could not imagine your life without these little ones. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. I had fun filming this and trying to think of everything that's really made me change. I'm sure there are a lot more that haven't really come to mind, but I'm very fortunate that I haven't suffered from any kind of like mental health issue, which I know is very common with having babies. So that's pretty much everything I can think of that has really changed me. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know what's changed you for the better or worse down below. I would love to know. I always respond to your comments. And thank you for watching. I would love to have you as a viewer, so please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. Bye!